All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy Akeem, and welcome to today's vlog. Continuing with my first round mock draft for this year's NFL draft. The Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock with the 22nd pick, and I have a good idea where they should go with this pick. But who I think they will go, I think they're going to go opposite direction with this particular selection. Now, let's talk a little bit about this team. This team went 10-6 last season, winning the NFC East division and losing in the wild card 26-24 to the New Orleans Saints. They had a good season, productive year, making it to the playoffs, and Chip Kelly and company is looking to make it to the playoffs this upcoming season, but they have some work cut out for them because they lost a couple of key players. Now let's start with the offensive side. Nick Foles, he has showed that he is the future quarterback for this team. He had a great year making it to the Pro Bowl, 2,891 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Didn't really start until later on in the season, replacing Michael Vick, who is now a New York Jet. Now, his passer rating was excellent, 119.2 passer rating, and he could be due for a couple of good seasons. He showed a lot of promise coming out of the University of Arizona. I told you I did believe in this kid, but he didn't really live up to the potential in college, but he is showing it in the National Football League, coming out of Austin, Texas, just like Drew Brees, his nemesis in that wild card. He's an excellent player, and I do believe in him a lot coming for the next upcoming seasons. My man LaShawn McCoy, he led the league in rushing, 1,607 yards. He is back into form. He was missing in action 2 years ago due to injuries, but he's back this year and stepped it up a lot, leading the league not only in rushing but in all-purpose yardage offensively coming from the line of scrimmage. Now, they lost a key player in the receiver, Deshaun Jackson. He is now a Washington Redskin, and I don't understand why they did not sign this kid again. He is coming off of his best season, 1,332 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. This best season in his career as an Eagle with the help of Nick Foles. And these two particular players had great chemistry. I do not understand why the Eagles did not sign Deshaun Jackson. Now, yes, we had off-the-field issues. People say he was affiliated to gang members, but those are mainly rumors. We do not know that is 100% true, and he signed a good deal with the Washington Redskins. But even though the Eagles made a huge mistake not re-signing him, but they ended up re-signing Riley Cooper, which I did not understand. Everybody knows that Deshaun Jackson is the better target. I don't care what anybody says. Also, they still have Jeremy Maclin, but they could use a wide receiver with their first-round selection, and they might end up going that direction. Now, headed to the defensive side, they were horrific in pass defense. They were actually last in the league in passing yards allowed, while 10th in the league in rushing yards allowed. So their front seven was playing pretty good. Fletcher Cox had 3 sacks last season to go along with 41 tackles. Trent Cole still had a decent year, 8 sacks overall, but he's entering his 10th season. So they need to be looking for a 3-4 defensive end or a 3-4 outside linebacker. They mainly need a real true pass rusher, a person who can wreak havoc and get to the quarterback. Now, they have a couple good players who had some sacks last season, but overall they need one particular guy who can lead the pack and get into the quarterback and cause a lot of disruption. So they could be looking for a 3-4 defensive end or a 3-4 outside linebacker. But I think for this particular selection, they need to address the secondary. Now, yes, they did sign Malcolm Jenkins from the New Orleans Saints to play at safety, so that was a big upgrade. And their best player last season was Brandon Boykin. He's still back with the team, 6 interceptions last season to go along with 17 pass breakups. He had a good year, but they could still use a lot of help. And even Brandon Boykin had his moments where he struggled against the offensive receivers and offenses overall. But he's still a good cornerback, definitely still a starter for this upcoming season. But they could use a cornerback, and I think the best player that they should pick up is Bradley Roby out of Ohio State. Now, I was debating between him and Kyle Fuller out of Virginia Tech, but if you look at the numbers, Bradley Roby's just a little bit faster. He runs a 4.440 compared to a 4.540 for Kyle Fuller. He also has more tackles, more pass breakups, not as much as interceptions, but he still has decent ball skills, but he could definitely prevent receivers from catching the ball, which is a great thing, and I think he will be a great upgrade for the secondary. But they might go with Kyle Fuller with this one. I'm going to have to go with Bradley Roby from Ohio State for this pick, but who I think they're going to address, the position they're going to address with this selection is a wide receiver for Nick Foles, because they're looking to have him to be the franchise, and the franchise quarterback needs to have a good receiver. And I think they're going to go with a wild card with this one, Odell Beckham out of LSU. His stock has been raising a little bit. He definitely caught my attention. Great size, good hands. Zach Mettenberger had a great season last season, his best year as a Tiger, and he was actually part of the reason why Zach Mettenberger kind of transformed himself to become a good NFL pro prospect headed towards this year's draft. And Odell Beckham deserves a lot of credit. I do see him as a first-round pick, but I don't think the receivers should go with wide receiver, but I think they will go with wide receiver because Chip Kelly is more of an offensive guy, offensive guru, and he's going to need his quarterback to have weapons around him. So I think they're going to go with a receiver with this one, and Odell Beckham out of LSU, or possibly Brandon Cooks out of Oregon State, but I'm going to have to go with Odell Beckham out of LSU because of his size, and I think he could become the #1 guy right off the bat. He has a lot of potential. But who I think they should address is the cornerback position, and my pick is Bradley Roby out of Ohio State. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is tomorrow. I'm going to continue things on with my first round mock draft with pick 23 belonging to the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you for watching today's blog. From Pro Football Exclusive, I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.